Steve Jobs is an example of a leader who is often associated with transformational leadership, in particular when it comes to his charismatic and inspirational qualities. The New York Times argued that he led a cultural transformation in the way in which music, movies and mobile communications were experienced in the digital age. Well, even though a few reports surface citing the dictatorial side of the Steve Jobs regime, there is great evidence that Jobs was also transformational by inciting vision, authenticity, a genuine commitment to task and people. Over time he adapted a growth mindset that honors effort and performance, as well as creativity, which is a flair for stimulating innovation, originality and measuring risks. If Jobs is to be remembered as an ideal transformational leader, it is important for us to first assess the likely impact his leadership has on our understanding of a transformational leader. The purpose of this case study was to examine the discourse surrounding the passing of Steve Jobs, and compare it to received understandings of transformational leadership theory. The results of this case study have implications not only for how we remember particular leaders like Steve Jobs, but also for how we understand, continue to theorize, and teach transformational leadership going forward. Let us first see some of the definitions of transformational leadership and who is a transformational leader. Transformational leadership is a characteristic of leadership that helps to transform individuals and social eras. Transformational leaders generate optimistic transformations in followers, with the end objective of developing their potential as future leaders. Moreover, transformational leadership improves motivation and confidence and supports the performance of followers through a diversity of instruments. It is also defined as a theory comprising followers' individuality and personalities with respect to their assignment, being an inspirational role model for followers, challenging followers to better the work they have been assigned into, and accepting the power and limitations of followers in order to match followers with the duties that optimize their performance. The transforming approach generates significant transformations in people's lives and in organizations. It enhances awareness and values and modifies employees' prospects and objectives. A transformational leader inspires followers to attain a vision to generate a unique personality. This involves inspirational incentives, idealized influence, intellectual stimulation and individual consideration dimensions. There are 4 dimensions of transformational leadership. The first dimension is individualized consideration, which determines the amount to which a leader concentrates on each follower's requirements, acts as a guide or a coach to the follower and pays attention to their distresses and requirements. In 1997, Steve Jobs returned to Apple to review the product sessions. Suddenly, he stopped, grabbed a whiteboard and started drawing grids and columns to explain to his followers the next challenge, which was to focus on 4 products, one for each quadrant, and cancel the current ones. The employees were silenced and shocked by this challenge, but in the end, Apple managed it, and Jobs saved the company. The second dimension is intellectual stimulation, which is the level to which a potential leader challenges postulations, precedes his actions as a risk-taker and seeks input from followers. When it comes to intellectual stimulation, Steve Jobs loved whiteboards, on which he wrote his challenges and his followers' inputs. He always asked his followers to draw suggestions, and he would mention them on the board. Jobs would frequently ask, "What are the 10 things we should be doing next year?" His followers began to post suggestions and inputs, and Jobs wrote them down. After gathering their inputs, he conducted a filtration process with the help of his employees to develop more solid, tangible ideas. The third dimension is inspirational motivation, which is the level to which the leader can create a coherent vision that is attractive and inspirational to followers. The visionary aspects of leadership are driven by communication skills that create a comprehensible, accurate, influential and appealing vision so that followers are eager to devote more effort to their tasks and are confident and optimistic about their expectations. In terms of inspirational motivation, Steve Jobs once stated, "My passion has been to build a lasting company where people were motivated to make great products. Everything else was secondary." Jobs' aim was to end up with the people he had hired and the people who had promoted, who could discuss innovative ideas during meetings. Last but not least, idealized influence is the fourth dimension. Idealized influence exemplifies elevated ethical behavior, self-esteem and faith. In an example of idealized influence, Jobs pushed people to do challenging things. Colleagues called this tendency his reality distortion field. Jobs was once on a night shift at Atari and started challenging Steve Wozniak to create a game called Breakout. Wozniak complained that the game would take a long time to make. However, Jobs gave him a look and told him that he could do it quickly. Ultimately, the game was created and released to the market within 4 days. CNET, an organization that raises awareness for the latest technologies, described Jobs as an iconist who changed the way people do everything, from watching videos to listening to music. Jobs' perfectionism began when he was a teenager, when his father asked him to start building a fence in their backyard. Jobs put as much effort into the back, where no one would see the wood, as he did in the front. In Apple, Jobs applied the same approach. For example, he asked his engineers to create chips for the Macintosh that looked nice. The engineers were surprised, since they did not believe that customers would look at what was inside the PC. However, they remembered that Jobs cared about the small touches and that things should be beautiful on the inside as well as outside. Steve Jobs made his employees believe in his simplest suggestion to alter a product's design. For example, those who worked with Jobs first interpreted his reality distortion field as a sign of harassment. However, his character influenced them to achieve unusual feats, such as changing the course of computer history, beyond what IBM could accomplish, with only limited resources. For example, Debbie Coleman, an employee who worked on the Mac team and who won an award for standing up to Jobs, recalled that Jobs did the impossible because he did not realize that it was impossible. In terms of innovation, Apple is considered an innovation in itself. However, when it comes to Jobs' innovative approach to evaluating products that he has created with his team, the most important development is the iPod, which was released in 2011 and which changed how college students and businesspeople go about their daily schedules. The iPod is considered a major illustration of Steve Jobs' innovative approach. With Apple computers, Steve Jobs created a significant change. First, he instructed his team to simplify the ways in which documents and folders were dragged. Then, he created a single-button mouse, which differed from the common two-button mouse. The cost was minor, but innovation efficiency was high. In terms of motivation, in accordance with Maslow's motivational theory, at level 4, followers attempt to secure appreciation and esteem. Steve Jobs started an approach called the Top 100, through which he took his best 100 employees on a vacation retreat. This step motivated Jobs' followers. Furthermore, when Jobs sought employees' thoughts, he took care to note down every idea. Once, he suggested to Tony Fadell, who led the iPod team, that Apple should not include an on/off button. His employees were shocked, but after he explained his reasons, they became motivated. Same way, Larry Kenyon, who worked on developing the Macintosh system, once complained to Jobs that the system took too long to boot up. Jobs replied, "If it would save a person's life, could you find a way to save 10 seconds off the boot time?" Then, Jobs went to his common whiteboard and drew a diagram for the engineer to explain the consequences of having a system that takes too long to boot up and the benefits of a system that takes less than 30 seconds to run. The next day, Kenyon developed a system that booted 28 seconds faster. Thank you so much for listening to this video. Do not forget to subscribe this YouTube channel for receiving updates about my upcoming case study videos, and see you soon with another interesting case study video.